Welcome to the Satiety Index video. I am Dr. David McCauley from GlobalRPh. In this chapter, we will introduce the concept of the Satiety Index, which measures how full different foods make you feel. The concept of satiety plays a crucial role in nutrition science and weight management. It refers to the feeling of fullness and satisfaction after consuming food, which directly impacts our eating behaviors and overall caloric intake. To quantify this subjective experience, researchers have developed the Satiety Index, a valuable tool for comparing the satiating effects of different foods. This comprehensive guide will explore the Satiety Index in depth, examining its development, applications, and implications for dietary choices and weight control strategies. Hunger is a fundamental biological drive that ensures we consume adequate calories to meet our energy needs. However, in the context of weight management, excessive hunger can lead to overeating and hinder weight loss efforts. Understanding how different foods impact satiety allows individuals to make informed dietary choices that promote fullness while maintaining caloric balance. The Satiety Index provides a numerical measure of a food's ability to satisfy hunger relative to a standard reference food, typically white bread. Foods with higher Satiety Index scores are more likely to promote feelings of fullness and reduce subsequent food intake compared to those with lower scores. This information can be invaluable for individuals seeking to control their appetite, manage their weight, or simply make more satisfying food choices. Stay tuned to learn more about how this index can help you make better food choices. In this video, we will delve into the scientific basis of the Satiety Index, examine the factors that influence food satiety, and explore how this knowledge can be applied to create more effective dietary strategies. We will also provide a comprehensive breakdown of common foods ranked by their Satiety Index scores, offering practical insights for incorporating high satiety foods into daily meal plans. Understanding the physiological mechanisms underlying satiety is crucial for appreciating the significance of the Satiety Index. Satiety is a complex process involving multiple hormonal and neural pathways that communicate between the digestive system and the brain. When we consume food, several physiological responses occur. Firstly, mechanical stretch. As food enters the stomach, it expands, activating stretch receptors that signal fullness to the brain. Secondly, nutrient sensing. Specialized cells in the intestines detect the presence of macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and trigger the release of satiety hormones. Thirdly, hormonal signaling. Various hormones, including cholecystokinin, or CCK, peptide, YY, or PYY, and glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1, are released in response to food intake. These hormones act on the brain to suppress appetite and promote feelings of fullness. Fourthly, neural feedback. The vagus nerve transmits signals from the digestive system to the brain, providing information about the volume and composition of ingested food. Lastly, blood glucose regulation. Changes in blood glucose levels following a meal can influence feelings of hunger and satiety. The interplay of these factors determines the overall satiating effect of a meal. However, different foods can vary significantly in their ability to stimulate these satiety mechanisms, which is where the Satiety Index becomes a valuable tool for comparison. Research has shown that certain food properties have a more pronounced effect on satiety. Protein content. High protein foods tend to be more satiating than those high in carbohydrates or fats. Protein stimulates the release of satiety hormones and has a higher thermic effect, meaning it requires more energy to digest. Fiber content. Dietary fiber adds bulk to food, slowing digestion and prolonging feelings of fullness. Soluble fiber in particular can form a gel-like substance in the stomach, further delaying gastric emptying. Water content. Foods with high water content, such as fruits and vegetables, can increase stomach volume without adding significant calories, promoting a sense of fullness. Energy density. Foods with lower energy density, meaning fewer calories per gram, tend to be more satiating as they allow for larger portion sizes without excessive calorie intake. Texture and chewing time. Foods that require more chewing or have a more complex texture may enhance satiety by increasing eating time and oral sensory exposure. Understanding these factors provides a foundation for interpreting satiety index scores and making informed dietary choices to promote fullness and satisfaction. The Satiety Index was developed to quantify and compare the satiating effects of different foods. This tool helps understand how dietary components influence hunger beyond calorie counting. Dr. Susanna Holt and her team at the University of Sydney conducted this research in the mid-1990s. Their work, published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, laid the foundation for food satiety understanding. The methodology involves several key steps: recruiting healthy volunteers, preparing standardized meals, and controlled consumption. Participants rated their hunger and fullness over 2 hours using visual analog scales. Data analysis compared satiety ratings to a reference food, white bread. This allowed standardized comparison of foods' satiating effects. The study revealed significant variations in satiety among foods with similar caloric content. Boiled potatoes were the most satiating food tested. Protein-rich foods like fish and lean meat scored high on the satiety index. Processed foods like croissants and candy bars scored low, indicating limited fullness. The satiety index advanced nutrition science, offering insights into food's impact on hunger and eating behavior. Factors influencing food satiety. The satiety index reveals that various factors contribute to a food's ability to promote fullness and satisfaction. Understanding these elements can help individuals make more informed dietary choices. Macronutrient composition. Protein has the most potent satiating effect. High-protein foods stimulate satiety hormones and require more energy for digestion. Carbohydrates. Complex carbs provide more sustained satiety compared to simple sugars. Fats. They contribute to longer-term satiety by slowing gastric emptying. Fiber adds volume to food, increasing stomach distension and promoting fullness. Foods with high water content can increase meal volume without adding substantial calories. Foods with lower energy density allow for larger portion sizes, potentially increasing satiety. The physical properties of food can influence satiety. Foods that require more chewing may enhance satiety by increasing eating duration. Foods rich in essential nutrients may contribute to satiety by satisfying the body's nutritional needs. Whole foods generally provide greater satiety than their processed counterparts. Satiety responses can vary between individuals due to factors like genetics and age. By considering these factors, individuals can make more informed choices about which foods are likely to promote fullness and satisfaction. Interpreting the Satiety Index. The Satiety Index provides a valuable tool for comparing the satiating effects of different foods, but interpreting these scores requires a nuanced understanding of the scale and its implications. This section will explore how to read and apply satiety index values effectively. Satiety Index Scale. The satiety index uses white bread as a reference point, assigning it a score of 100. Foods are then rated in comparison to white bread. Scores above 100 indicate foods that are more satiating than white bread. Scores below 100 indicate foods that are less satiating than white bread. For example, a food with a satiety index of 200 would be twice as satiating as white bread, while a food with a score of 50 would be half as satiating. Key points for interpretation. Relative nature. The satiety index is a relative measure, not an absolute one. It compares foods to each other rather than providing an absolute measure of fullness. Isocaloric portions. The original study used 240 calorie portions of each food. When applying these scores to real-world eating, consider how typical portion sizes might differ. Short-term versus long-term satiety. The index primarily reflects short-term satiety over 2 to 3 hours. Long-term effects on hunger and food intake may vary. Individual variations. While the index provides general guidance, individual responses to foods can vary based on personal factors and preferences. Context matters. The satiating effect of a food can be influenced by how it's consumed, such as alone or as part of a mixed meal, and the overall diet composition. Practical application. When using the satiety index to inform food choices, focus on trends. Look for patterns in food types rather than fixating on specific numerical scores. Consider nutrient density. A food with a high satiety index isn't necessarily nutritionally superior. Balance satiety with overall nutritional value. Combine wisely. Incorporate high satiety foods into meals to enhance overall meal satisfaction. Adapt to personal experience. Use the index as a starting point, but pay attention to your own satiety responses to different foods. Account for portion sizes. Remember that the index is based on calorie-matched portions. Adjust your interpretation for real-world serving sizes. Look beyond single foods. Consider how combinations of foods might affect overall meal satiety. By understanding these principles of interpretation, individuals can effectively use the satiety index as part of a broader approach to nutrition and weight management, making informed choices that promote both satisfaction and health. Breakdown of common foods by satiety index. Understanding the satiety index helps in making informed dietary choices. Let's explore foods with high and low satiety values. High satiety foods include boiled potatoes with a score of 323. Their high water content and resistant starch contribute to fullness. Fish, scoring 225, are high in protein. Oatmeal with a score of 209 is rich in fiber. Oranges, scoring 202, have high water and fiber content. Apples with a score of 197 are fiber-rich. Beef, scoring 176, is high in protein. Eggs with a score of 150 are nutrient-dense. Moderate satiety foods include whole grain bread and cheese. Whole grain bread, scoring 157, has higher fiber content. Cheese with a score of 146 combines protein and fat. Lentils, scoring 133, are high in protein and fiber. Brown rice, with a score of 132, offers more fiber and nutrients. Popcorn, scoring 154, has a large volume for few calories. Lower satiety. Foods include white bread and bananas. White bread, scoring 100, is the reference point. Bananas with a score of 118 are higher in sugar. Yogurt, scoring 88, varies by fat content. Peanuts, with a score of 84, are high in fat and calories. Croissant, scoring 47, is high in fat and refined carbs. Protein-rich foods rank high on the satiety index. Foods with high water and fiber content also score high. Processed foods typically score lower. promoting less fullness. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We plan on creating several videos each month. Also, check out globalrph.com for additional information.